Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 4 of In the Know with Mr. O. Today we're going to kind of be piggybacking a little bit on that student engagement piece, but really kind of more focusing in on that student interest and how to kind of grab the student's attention immediately. You know, teachers of today are dealt with a very difficult task of dealing with students who have, a little bit shorter attention spans due to social media. Teachers need to be able to get that hook, right? Grab the student's attention. And students like that creative piece. They like having their attention grabbed. I know when I was a teacher starting out in the early 2000s, I was seeing that transition slowly take place. Students weren't going with the traditional, blackboard lesson, copy down what I'm writing, listen to me start to finish, direct instruction. And I think when I was in high school in the late 90s, I didn't like that either. And I needed something that was a little bit more interactive. So what the student of today is really looking for and what the teacher of today, I think can do it, and something that I did in my transition from becoming a teacher to an actual administrator as well, but especially when I was a teacher in the class, is really focus on student interest, right? You need to take an inventory of what your students like and then research and look up what your content area, especially if you're a secondary ed professional, relates to those interests. When I was a mathematics teacher, there were different types of problems that I would integrate in using things that I read from those student interest surveys. I mean, I used to do them on pieces of paper. There was a picture back in the day called English book. I photoshopped it to make it look like math book. And basically, this thing looked like Facebook, and you were allowed to fill out a profile about yourself and answer questions, draw avatars. It gave teachers an idea of what the interests you had were in the classroom. So then teachers could use that. I integrated that into my lessons. I had all sorts of different populations of kids from all different backgrounds, and I was integrating different cultural aspects, social emotional aspects, things in the classrooms that made kids' head rise up and look up and pay attention in class. I even had a Ukrainian population that I kind of integrated some things that I learned about them. And I would have kids come up to me and kind of be like, hey, Mr. O, I've seen some kids in the class talking about this, talking about that. When are you going to cover my area, right? Because they got eager to learn. So I think taking that student inventory, which now can be done with a Google form, right, if you wanted to, or some interactive space, right, Canva, anything that you could create for them, to allow them to fill out, authentically answer some things about themselves, right? And then you be able to use that to connect it to your content. That is another way that you can grab student engagement and student interest, right? By taking that small inventory. It shows you're bought in with them. It shows that they have a connection to the content that you want to teach, and it allows them an ability to create a relationship in the classroom between student and teacher that will last all semester or all year to truly drive the growth that is needed in your class, okay? If you have any questions, you're always feel free to reach out to me. You can do that at any time. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of In the Know with Mr. O. Peace, everybody.